Here's more wrestling news for November 19th, 2022. And we're starting off with Shotzi, the #1 contender for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and WWE is working hard to make her a legitimate contender. Given that she'll be going up against Ronda Rousey, Shotzi needs to look like she has a chance, and on this week's SmackDown, the green-haired superstar got a win over Shayna Baszler. The odd thing, though, is that this win was thanks to assistance by Raquel Rodriguez, and while that wasn't the best way to go about things, WWE is clearly trying to build up some momentum before Shotzi inevitably loses to Rousey at Survivor Series. We're looking ahead to Summerslam, as next year's event will likely be the second biggest show of 2023, and we may know where it will take place. Fightful Select has learned that right now, Detroit, Michigan is the current favorite to host the Summer Spectacular, with WWE sources saying that the Motor City was being looked at for the event. The last time WWE held SummerSlam in Michigan, it was all the way back in 1993, but fans from the state could be guests to the biggest party of the summer next year. Earlier this month, Colt Cabana made his return to AEW TV to challenge Ring of Honor World Champion Chris Jericho, but was unable to dethrone the Wizard. Given that Cabana hadn't appeared on AEW TV for a year before the match, many suspected that his return was related to CM Punk's rumored departure from the promotion. Not long after, Dave Meltzer reported that Cabana's match was being seen as a morale booster for AEW's locker room after the All Out controversy, but that plan has backfired. In the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Meltzer writes that Cabana's match with Jericho only made things worse between AEW and Punk. Colt Cabana wrestling Chris Jericho only made things worse as far as issues with the two sides. Punk remains adamant that he had nothing to do with Cabana being gone. A lot of talent in AEW believes and insists differently, and it's openly talked about. Cabana being back only fueled that, especially because it was Tony Khan's decision and not a suggestion somebody else came up with. There has also been no change as far as we know in the Punk contract situation, in that he's still under contract here, and they were still selling his merchandise this past week at the arena. It wasn't long after Punk's debut in AEW that Cabana vanished, so it's not surprising that many on the roster blame the problematic former world champion. Whether Punk caused Cabana's absence from AEW, it's likely we'll never know the 100% truth, but having Colt return this week ended up causing yet another headache between Punk and the company. In June, CM Punk suffered a broken foot when he dove into a crowd of AEW fans, which forced the then world champion to take weeks off TV. Punk would eventually return, though incredibly quickly, and now we have an update on his condition. On Instagram, the former world champion shared an image from his exercise regime, noting that it's the first time he's been able to do road work since the broken foot. Given Punk's actions at All Out, it's likely we will never see him wrestle again, which will give him plenty more time to exercise, especially now that his foot is fully healed. When Tommaso Ciampa was called up to the main roster earlier this year, he immediately aligned himself with The Miz, which many fans saw as a bizarre move. While the Ciampa-Miz pairing have since proven to be an impressive unit, the Blackheart is currently out with an injury, and things will be much different when he returns. That's according to Zero News, who notes that Triple H has massive plans for Ciampa, who will be turning on The Miz when he returns. The former NXT champion is set to reunite with his DIY partner Johnny Gargano, who Miz has been feuding with as of late, and the plan is for DIY to have an impressive tag team run. This tag run will come to an end eventually, as Zero adds that Triple H also wants Gargano and Ciampa to be pushed really hard as single stars for the future down the line. Given that both Ciampa and Gargano spent years in NXT, it's hardly a surprise that Triple H has taken great interest in the pair, and fans can expect big things in the future of both men. Now, WWE is always on the hunt for new talent that they can add to the roster, but they're not the only big promotion in the US anymore. Several wrestlers have decided to take their chances with AEW rather than commit to WWE, and now another name the Connecticut promotion had their eye on may slip through their fingers. Sean Ross Sapp reports that Casey Navarro is the latest name WWE has had their eye on, but the young wrestler was spotted elsewhere this week. Fightful has learned that Casey Navarro was around visiting at AEW Rampage today. We covered him recently, and he has a private WWE tryout coming soon. It's rare for WWE to offer someone a private tryout, but Navarro will get just that in December, a clear sign that the company wants to give the best first impression they can. Navarro signing with WWE would be a major push in the young wrestler's career, but with him attending this week's Rampage, a contract between Navarro and WWE is far from a done deal. We've got some unfortunate news from Konnan now, as the wrestling legend is struggling with some serious health issues. For years, the first ever CMLL World Champion has been dealing with kidney issues, but in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer has said that things have gotten much worse. Konnan, 58, is having significant kidney issues and is looking for a kidney donor. Konnan had his first kidney transplant in 2007, but has continued to make wrestling appearances in the years since then, working for promotions including Impact, MLW, and AAA. In fact, Konnan is slated to appear at events for AAA next month in Tempe, Acapulco, and Arizona, but of course if things get worse, he may have to cancel. Like many wrestlers of his era, Konnan led a wild life both in and out of the ring, but is unfortunately paying the price today, and we wish him well in his search for a suitable donor. We are looking at WrestleMania 39, which may be 5 months away, but there's been plenty of talk about the card and who John Cena will face at the biggest night of the year. After missing WrestleManias 37 and 38, fans are excited to see who steps up to Big Match John, given the reports that he will be competing in April 2023. Recently, Logan Paul laid out the challenge, saying he's been speaking to Triple H about a match with Cena, claiming that the bout would break the internet, and now John has responded. Taking to Instagram, Cena shared a picture of Paul's face imposed on Stone Cold Steve Austin's body, and while the image had the text "Stone Cold someday," Cena provided no caption, as is his standard. Interestingly, Austin is also rumored to be in talks regarding a match next year, and some have suggested that it could be the Rattlesnake versus Big Match John at the biggest show of the year. With Cena's Hollywood career only growing, this may be one of the final times fans see him compete, but we'll have to wait and see whether it's Logan Paul, Stone Cold, or someone else who takes on the 16-time WWE World Champion. And we're ending today with Bianca Belair, and the EST of WWE is eyeing up her next challenge, the Silver Screen. Speaking in an interview with comicbook.com this week, Belair discussed a future movie career, saying that she'd 100% love to play Marvel's X-Men's Storm. Comic book movies and wrestling are no strangers, with Batista and John Cena having roles in Marvel and DC respectively, but it may be a matter of time before the EST is in the MCU. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.